What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode here on Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews. This review is on The Greatest Stories. Remember how I said that we were only going to be primarily looking at CGI releases from here on out? Well, I suppose not in this episode. Haha, scammed. No, but really, it wasn't my fault. Hit Entertainment made the conscientious choice to release The Greatest Stories to celebrate Thomas's 65th anniversary. So it's not really my fault, but you're still scammed. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the history section of The Greatest Stories. So The Greatest Stories is probably in the category of shortest history ever, because it was only released once in 2010, the year of Thomas's 65th anniversary, which that kind of makes sense, honestly, because why exactly would you reprint a special 65th anniversary release? That doesn't make much sense. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into the close-up section of The Greatest Stories. Alrighty, everyone, here's your close-up look at the greatest stories. But are they really the greatest stories? I guess we'll talk about that later. Up here at the top, we have 65 years since this did come out in 2010. It was the 65th anniversary of Thomas and Friends, Making Tracks to Great Destinations, special edition 2 disc set. It's not really a special edition since all of these came with 2 discs. I guess if it came with a 3rd disc with like extra content on it, you could say it's special, but it's the standard version, so don't let that trick you. The Greatest Stories underneath the Thomas and Friends logo, and then Thomas is underneath that logo. 20 stories, including the very first one. That, of course, referencing Thomas Gets Tricked being the very first story that was ever produced. Or not that was ever produced, that was ever shown. That's the first episode of Season 1, if you didn't know. Hit Entertainment on the side, scroll on down, The Greatest Stories, Portrait of Thomas, Lionsgate on the back. This back is actually really cool. I really like how they laid this out. You've got your blurb about what's on the discs and such. Then you've got around the sides here, you've got little screenshots for characters. You have a screenshot Duncan, which is weird. Clarabelle, which is weird also. Gordon, that makes sense. Emily makes sense. Rosie, an interesting choice, but alright. Edward, Henry, James, Percy, all of these characters besides Rosie, Clarabelle, and Duncan, they pretty much make sense. Then you have Molly. Why is Molly on here? And Toby. This is the weird Molly that's got the face that's like really bulging and protruding, and it scares me, and I don't even know why she's on this release. Also, why is there just Clarabelle? Why is there no Annie? They made some weird choices whenever it came to this release. Here we have the 2-disc set, or bonus features, 20 Thomas and Friends stories, create your own personalized Thomas and Friends stories, 6 fun games, 4 character sing-alongs, 4 music videos, enhanced read-along, and a DVD-ROM feature featuring coloring pages and a desktop wallpaper. I wonder what that desktop wallpaper will be. And your text specs and stuff on the bottom. Sorry, camera didn't focus there. You have a little insert here, looking at Day Out with Thomas. Celebration includes 25-minute ride with a full-size Thomas the Tank Engine, meetings, top hat storytelling, live music, building with Mega Blocks, and much more. For tickets and information, visit www.ticketweb.com/dayoutwiththomas or call 866-486-7630. I wonder if you call that number. I wonder if that actually still works. Everyone pays kids price. Present this coupon at the ticket booth of any Six Flags theme park. Oh, Six Flags! This was back when Six Flags was in business. I guess this is like a coupon to pay kids pricing for Six Flags. That's actually really cool. I wish that Six Flags was still in business so that I could use that, even though I hate theme parks, but I would use that. Here is disc 1 for The Greatest Stories. You can see it's episodes 1 through 15, and on the disc you've got Thomas, James, Gordon, and Diesel, 10 of all characters. So it's not a squished up version of the poster art, it's actually new art. That's cool. On the other one, it's pretty much the exact same layout, except it's now colored red. It says Disc 2, and it has Thomas, Percy, Toby, and Emily instead of Thomas, Gordon, James, and Diesel 10. And this is stories 16 through 20. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is your close-up look at the greatest stories. Let's go ahead and transition into our menu tour. Alright everybody, here's our menu tour for Disc 1 of the Greatest Stories. You see we have our options here. We've got play, episode selection, and language selection. There's no bonus feature tab. That comes later on the second disc. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Episode selection. What episodes do we have on disc number 1? Thomas Gets Tricked. Obviously, you gotta have that one. Edward Helps Out. That makes sense too. That's a very classic one. It was also the first story ever written for the Railway series, so that makes sense. Diesel's Devious Deed, interesting choice to put the middle story of a 3-story arc on this and not include the other 2 stories, but hey, that's okay. Percy's Ghostly Trick, that's a good one. That's a good choice. Thomas Percy and the Dragon, that's an alright choice, I suppose. I could see where they would get that from. Trust Thomas, yeah, I guess. That's a classic one. Henry and the Elephant, I suppose. I mean, that probably has a justification. Cranky Bugs, yeah, that's the first episode of Season 5. I could see that one being on there. However, I don't see any Stepney Gets Lost or Oliver's Find. I don't know why those aren't on here. Snow Engine, oh, this one features Oliver. Okay, that one's alright. Thomas Saves the Day. I think that's the Season 9 or Season 8 episode where Thomas saves the station from running from the trucks. I always get that one confused with a Season 5 story where Thomas helps a bunch of kids out with their playground. I forget what that one's called. I think it's Thomas Saves the Day as well. I'm not sure. Oh no, it's Thomas and the Rumors. That's what it's called. That's not on here. So Cranky Bugs is the only Season 5 episode on here. That's kind of sad. Edward the Great. Okay. James Gets a New Coat. I don't really remember that episode all that much. Thomas to the Rescue. That's actually not a bad story per se. That's actually a decent choice. Thomas and the Birthday Picnic, that needs to be gone. Goodbye. Get rid of that one. Emily Knows Best, get rid of that one as well. That one's bad. So our story selection isn't terrible on disc number 1. It's not the stories that I myself would have personally picked to be the greatest stories, as the title implies. So let's go ahead and transition into language selection. We've got English, Spanish, and French. So, folks, that's the end of the first disc. Let's go ahead and transition into disc numero dos. Alright, everybody, we're back for the second disc of the greatest stories. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't notice a difference in the menus, because literally the only change is the fact that these 3 options have been shifted up to make room for the bonus features tab, but other than that, it's the same image and all that. I would have liked it if they changed it to red for Disc 2, because the artwork on Disc 2 is red, so it's a minor gripe. So, episode selection, let's jump in. What do we got? Percy and the Carnival, I don't really remember all that much about that episode. Thomas and the Birthday Mail, that introduces Rosie, I think, so let's get rid of that one. Sir Handel in Charge, that one's real bad, get rid of it. Skarloey Storms Through, that one's real bad, get rid of it. And Duncan Does It All, that one's probably bad, because a lot of the narrow gauge episodes from the later model era are bad. So let's just get rid of that one. So pretty much this entire selection of stories can just be erased, and I would be okay with that, because Skarloey Storms Through is probably one of the worst narrow gauge episodes I've seen in my life. I mean, Skarloey, what happened to you? Language selection, I'm pretty sure, yep, it's the exact same menu. English, Spanish, and French. Let's go back to the main menu. Bonus features, what do we got? How Did Thomas Meet His Friends trivia game. Thomas Saves the Day enhanced read-along. Storybook Adventure. Soda Activity Depot, that's the DVD-ROM feature. Let's go over to the next music video. We have the Thomas Anthem. It's great to be an engine, James the Splendid Engine, and never, never, never give up. Or never, never give up. I like to say that it's never, never, never give up. I just have always said it that way. We also have character sing-alongs. Sir Topham Hatt, he's the head of the railway. Percy's Seaside Trip. I don't really remember that song that well, so I can't sing it here. He's a really useful engine, you know. All the other engines, they'll tell you so. And our last Song is Harold the helicopter flying through the skies. First to the rescue, should help be required. I'm gonna stop now. So I'm actually interested in the storybook adventure because I think that's the bonus feature that says you can create your own story. So I think we're gonna play this game. Why not, right? They can make this HMR just a little bit longer.
Hello, my friends. I'm Sir Topham Hatt. Welcome to Thomas's Storybook Adventure, where you can be part of the story. Choose.
This is I think this is the exact same bonus feature from Sodor Celebration. I'm gonna take a look at it here. I think it's the same one.
It's a beautiful sunny morning on the island of Sodor. Everyone is very excited about the grand opening of the new rail station on Sodor.
It's the same bonus feature. Well, that sucks. That's kind of a ripoff. That says that you can create your own story on the back of this. Yeah, it says you can create your own personalized Thomas and Friends story. This is not personalized. This is a predetermined game. That sucks, dude. I'm actually really mad now. That's false advertising. I'm not cool with that. It brings this release down in points. Let's take a look at the Sodor Activity Depot. What's this say? Create your own Thomas storybook. There it is. You can do it it's a DVD-ROM extra. Well, then why didn't it list it under the DVD-ROM extra category? This release is all over the wall. You can star in your own Thomas and Friends storybook, print coloring pages, and download wallpapers from your computer desktop at the Sodor Activity DVD-ROM Depot. To visit the Sodor Activity Depot, ask a grown-up to help you insert this disc into your DVD-ROM drive on your computer. Have fun. Maybe I'll do that later, but that's kind of BS, dude. Not a fan of that. Anyway, before I get progressively more triggered, let's go ahead and head on back and answer the 5 main questions, as always. Alright, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions, as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? eBay. Online retailers. I actually found mine in a thrift store. Yeah, check your local, thrift store, I suppose. Maybe you'll get lucky and only pay 99 cents like I did. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? No, it is not. Number 3, should you pick this product up? Here's where I think I'm going to piss a lot of people off. I don't like the greatest stories. I think that this release was a blatant cash grab to cash in on the 65th anniversary of Thomas and Friends, and I think that Hit just completely ruined any potential that this release could have had. Yes, it's great to see the classic series make a pseudo return by having, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 episodes that are actually classic series on the greatest stories. However, it all comes down to my own personal opinion. And in my personal opinion, these stories that are on here are not the greatest stories. I mean, they put Skarloey Storms Through on here. They had the audacity to put Skarloey Storms Through, a atrocious episode, on a release titled The Greatest Stories. I can't comprehend how they thought that was one of the greatest. Sir Handel in Charge, Thomas and the Birthday Mail, James Gets a New Coat. Just these random stories that are not memorable and just aren't good. I can barely remember anything about James Gets a New Coat other than James got a new coat. He got a new coat of paint. That's it. That's all I can tell you. That's because the episode's so bland and nothing happens in it. Also, the bonus content on here is pretty piss poor. For a really, special souped up release, I was expecting, some Lost Ark type stuff on this. All we got was some really crappy games. They literally took that personalized story from Thomas's Sodor Celebration and pasted it onto this release. It's the same story. It's not personalized. You don't change anything. It's you just going through the motions. That's false advertising. That's fake news. That's fake news. Because it's true. The music videos, yeah, they're classic series songs. That's cool, but it doesn't make up for, this release being close to awful. I really don't think that The Greatest Stories is worth your money. I seriously cannot say that I recommend that you buy this. It's one of the most cash grabbiest releases I've ever seen
in my life, and one of the laziest, if I'm going to be honest. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Same answers as number 1. And number 5, what price should you pay? Well, if you ignored my recommendation, some people are trying to sell this on eBay for like 40 or 50 bucks. It's not worth that. Don't pay that outrageous price. It's not worth 40 bucks. If anything, it's probably worth about 15 to 20. However, if you're like me and went to a thrift store and found it for 99 cents, hey, that's a freaking amazing deal. So that's the HMR and the greatest stories. I kind of went ham on it, actually. I'm surprised at how negative I got. But honestly, it's not good. It's just one of those releases that's a blatant cash grab and isn't saying sorry that it is one. So anyway, next regular HMR is going to be on Creaky Cranky. We're going back to the CGI era, and hopefully this time we'll stick with it the entire way. Oh wait, we have engine friends. Darn. So anyway, next regular HMR, Creaky Cranky. I'll see you all there. Good night, everybody. That's taken directly from Sodor Celebration and pasted onto this. Oh. I just dropped the microphone. Okay. I feel like I might put that in as a blooper just because it's really good.